If you're driving anywhere around Portland, chances are you know the sound.
Oh,
You're on the 205 maybe, and you hear that sharp, unmistakable ping.
ugh, the worst.
And there it is, a little starburst on your windshield. And you think, okay, I'll get to that eventually. But here's the question we're tackling today. Is that tiny crack actually illegal? And maybe more importantly, is it compromising your safety?
And that's really the core mission of this deep dive. You sent over a great stack of sources, the official Oregon vehicle code, safety data, info from local auto glass experts.
Right.
So our goal is to boil this all down so you understand why delaying a repair is, well, a genuinely bad idea.
And let's get the big number out of the way right up front. This isn't like a small parking ticket.
Not at all.
If a Portland police officer decides that chip is bad enough, you could be looking at a citation from, what, $110 all the way up to $250.
Exactly. And the legal standard itself is, it's a little subjective. It all comes down to one question.
Yeah.
Is that damage blocking your clear view of the road?
Okay, let's unpack that. The clear view standard, because that's where all the ambiguity is, right? We're looking at the Oregon Revised Statutes, and the language is about non-transparent material.
That's the key phrase. It says you can't operate a vehicle with any sign, poster, or other non-transparent material that obstructs the view.
Which doesn't explicitly say windshield crack.
It doesn't have to. That language, non-transparent material, is the legal umbrella that covers everything. Chips, deep scratches, those spider cracks. Anything that messes with the clarity of the glass falls right into that category.
So what's an officer actually trained to look for? I mean, if I have a tiny chip way over on the passenger side, are they really going to pull me over for that?
That's where the officer's discretion comes in. They absolutely have the authority to pull you over if they think it's a safety risk. But there's some clear thresholds that guide that decision.
Okay, give us those thresholds. This is what people need to know.
So the number one spot they scrutinize is the sweep area.
The area the wipers cover.
Exactly. Your main viewing zone, especially on a rainy Portland day, if the damage is in that area, and especially right in front of the driver, that's a huge red flag.
Is there a size limit, like a hard and fast rule?
There is. The general rule of thumb that police and insurance folks use is that any single crack that's longer than 6 inches in that main viewing area is a violation.
6 inches? That sounds like a lot, but on a big windshield.
It's really not. It can spread to that length in a single day. And it's not just one crack. A big cluster of chips in that zone can also get you a ticket.
And this is a primary offense, right? They can pull you over just for the crack.
Yes, in Oregon it is. An obstructed view is a primary offense. They don't need another reason, like speeding. If they see a crack they believe is a hazard, that's enough to initiate a stop.
So this could even affect your insurance rates.
It absolutely could, depending on how it's cited.
Okay, so that brings up the classic driver move. You get a crack and you think, I'll just put a piece of clear tape on it to stop the spread. Does that work legally?
No, absolutely not. In fact, that can make it worse.
Worse? How?
Because any temporary fixed tape, a patch, whatever, doesn't restore the structural integrity. And an officer could actually see that tape as an additional obstruction. The law wants clear, intact safety glass. Tape isn't that.
That's a really clear warning. Delay is not your friend. Which brings us to the much bigger issue here. Let's move past the ticket and talk about the cost of a collision. Because the windshield isn't just a window.
This is where it gets really interesting and, frankly, a little alarming. The windshield is a core, load-bearing part of your car's safety system. It's part of the safety cage.
So what does this mean structurally? I've seen the 30% figure, and it just seems massive.
It is staggering. Modern windshields are bonded to the car's frame with these incredibly powerful adhesives. And that bond means the glass itself provides up to 30% of the cabin's strength in a rollover.
30%.
It helps stop the roof from crushing down on you. So if you have a crack, especially one running from the edge, you have immediately and significantly weakened that entire structure.
So it's like taking one leg off a four-legged table.
That's a great way to put it. A structural engineer in one of our sources described a car with a cracked windshield in a rollover as behaving like a wet cardboard box. The intact windshield is the corner support that keeps the box from collapsing.
And it's not just about roof support. There's a connection to the airbags, which I think most people would never even consider.
Precisely. In a serious frontal crash, the passenger side airbag fires upward. It's designed to use the windshield as a backstop.
A backstop.
Yeah, it pushes against the glass to direct its force toward the passenger, protecting them. But if the windshield is already cracked and weak, The force of the airbag can just shatter it and pop it out.
So the airbag, it deploys outward, away from the person it's supposed to protect.
Exactly. It deploys out of the car instead of into the cabin. It completely fails to do its job.
That's a staggering realization. That changes the entire conversation from a cosmetic flaw to a critical life safety failure.
Yeah.
I never connected that little starburst to my airbag failing.
It's all part of the same system. The windshield is functionally connected to your seatbelts and airbags.
And bringing this back to Portland specifically, our weather seems almost perfectly designed to make this problem worse and fast.
It's the absolute enemy of a cracked windshield. You get these constant temperature swings, cold, rainy mornings, then maybe the sun comes out and it warms up in the afternoon.
Right, classic Portland.
That thermal stress just forces the glass to expand and contract, which makes any small crack run. And you combine that with road vibrations from, some of our less than perfect roads,
But I can think of a few.
and that crack spreads incredibly fast.
I'm guessing all the rain doesn't help either.
It's a huge factor. Water gets into that tiny crack. Then we get a cold snap, it freezes overnight, and the ice expands, forcing the crack open. What was a tiny repairable chip yesterday is now a 12-inch replacement-only crack this morning.
That really creates a sense of urgency. So, okay, let's talk about the practical side. You get a chip. How do the pros decide if it's a quick fix or a full replacement?
They follow some pretty strict rules. It's all about the location, the size, and the type of damage. Star breaks, bullseyes, that sort of thing.
And what's the rule of thumb for what's actually repairable?
Generally, if the chip itself is smaller than a quarter and any little cracks coming off it are shorter than 3 inches, it can often be repaired. But, and this is the big one, not if it's in the driver's direct line of sight.
That main sweep area again.
Right. You just can't have any distortion, even from a perfect repair, in that primary viewing zone. For safety and legal reasons, if it's there, it's almost always a replacement.
Hold on a second. If the chip is smaller than a quarter and it's outside my main view, why should I rush to spend money on it? It seems like the only real risk there is an officer's discretion, not a true safety issue.
That's a fair question. The risk isn't just about today, it's about tomorrow. That tiny chip is a stress riser. It's a built-in weak point. So you hit one bad pothole, or we get one of those sudden 20-degree temperature drops, and that weak point instantly becomes a huge crack. So spending, say, $50 or $60 now to repair it is really just insurance against spending $500 later for a full replacement. It's about managing that risk.
That reframes it perfectly. So for that simple repair, what's the time commitment? Because convenience is a huge factor for people putting this off.
It's incredibly fast, and it's designed that way, really, to remove any excuse for delaying. A standard chip repair takes like 30 to 45 minutes, tops.
That's it?
Yeah. They clean it, inject a special resin, and then cure it with a UV light to make it hard.
Yeah.
It restores the strength right there. You can basically drive away immediately.
Okay, that's almost no excuse. But let's talk about the full replacement, because with modern cars, it's gotten way more complicated. We have to talk about ADAS.
Yes. This is probably the most critical piece of information for anyone driving a car made in the last, say, 5 or 6 years. The windshield is not just glass anymore. It's a high-tech platform.
And for anyone who doesn't know the acronym, what is ADAS?
ADAS is Advanced Driver Assistance Systems. It's that whole suite of tech that's standard now. Lane departure warnings, automatic emergency braking, adaptive cruise control.
All that?
All that stuff. And it all relies on a precision camera that is mounted right on your windshield.
So when you replace the glass, why do you need to recalibrate it? It seems like if you put in the exact same model of glass, everything should just line up.
That's the key misconception. When you replace the glass, the position of that camera changes, even by just a fraction of a millimeter. A tiny, tiny bit.
I see.
But these systems need incredible precision. If that camera is off by just 1/10 of a degree, your lane-keeping assist might think a car in the next lane is about to hit you. It can cause the system to brake erratically or just fail completely.
That's actually terrifying. So a calibration isn't optional.
It is absolutely required. There's static calibration, which they do in the shop with special targets, and dynamic calibration, where a technician actually has to drive the car on marked roads for a while to let the system relearn its position.
So this adds a lot of time and cost.
It does. Static calibration can add another hour or two in the shop. Dynamic adds about an hour of road time. It's a much bigger job than it used to be.
So what does that do to the price tag? What's the cost difference?
A standard replacement on an older car might be, $200 to $500.
Right.
If your car has ADS, you're looking at that cost for the glass, plus another $150 to $300 for the calibration. It can easily be a $700 or $800 job.
That's a big jump. But let's talk about insurance, because that's the saving grace for most people here.
It really is.
Mhm.
And this is vital for organ drivers. Most comprehensive insurance plans here will cover a chip repair with zero deductible. Zero. They want you to fix it. And for a full replacement, you usually just pay your glass deductible, which is often much lower than your main collision deductible. So given the risks, using your insurance is almost always the right call.
And just to close that last loop, DEQ inspections, I thought they were just for smog. Do they really look at the glass?
Their main focus is emissions, for sure, but they are required to flag major safety hazards. If a crack is so bad that it clearly obstructs your view and makes the car unsafe, they can fail you. It's kind of a safety net.
Okay, so wrapping this all up, what does this mean for the average driver in Portland with that little chip in their windshield?
It means that that little chip is a triple threat. First, it's a legal risk. You're looking at a fine up to $250. Second, it's a major safety risk. That 30% loss of structural strength and the potential for airbag failure is no joke.
Right.
And third, it's a financial and logistical risk. Our weather can turn that cheap 30-minute repair into an expensive half-day replacement with a DS calibration overnight. The smart move is always to fix it immediately.
That is the perfect synthesis. So let's leave our listener with one final thought to mull over.
Okay. Think about your windshield, not as a window, but as a critical part of your car's safety cage. We know it provides up to 30% of the cabin strength and that your airbag literally depends on it to work correctly. So the question is, are you willing to trust your life or your passenger's life to a 6-inch crack? Treat its integrity with the urgency it actually demands.